Good morning, everybody. Lots to talk about. I'm up very early this morning. Got up extra early. Went to bed early last night after work, working long hours, and I wanted to go through some key items here. And yesterday was a mother load of international news, domestic news. It was really hard, everybody, to get through all of it. In fact, it wiped me out, and that doesn't happen every day. But an overload, to say the least. And I know it's very early. I doubt very many people come on, which is probably a good thing. But I want to highlight, and I say this without being limited to preconceived notions or the idea that I'm against Joe Biden or Justin Trudeau, that this is a right versus left thing. When I say psychopath, everybody, in the title, psychopathic, psychopath, truly what came about yesterday is psychopath on the international level, Joe Biden, and domestically, Justin Trudeau. Now, folks, we've been going through the crown funeral of Queen Elizabeth II for well over a week now. It's been hogging the news. It's constant for Canada's politicians all across the board. It's sick, it's deranged, it's wrong. I'm talking about woke now all the time, and there's the crown colonial woke, the original woke that comes from the patriots of America independence. Woke is a slang term. It comes from the United States of America. It absolutely is, and forever and a day in Webster's dictionary, belongs to the patriots of American independence against the crown. They are woke to the racism, to the perversion, to the absolute inhumanity. That's woke. And it's the American patriot. Now, it's been warped into a left ideology. It's been transformed, changed, especially by, of all countries, the United Kingdom, and absolutely the crown. And we're going to get into it. This video is explosive, everybody. I know later today when everybody gets up, it's going to be shared out, and it should be, because this was huge. It's huge. It highlights the psychopath, again, Justin Trudeau, and absolutely Joe Biden. So, first for Justin Trudeau, if you missed it during this Ramadan-sized celebration of Queen Victoria over and over every day throughout the week and the days to come, months to come, how much money we're going to spend on the propaganda of it. Folks, Justin Trudeau sits down with Lisa LaFlamme, and I'm going to reach out to a follower and say thank you for that. I had missed that. There's so many news stories, it's hard to follow everything, but Lisa LaFlamme's interview, if you haven't seen it, I'll share it. I see it on Instagram. She interviews the psychopath, clear psychopathic tendencies of Justin Trudeau. She asks him point blank, as a lot of well-established Canadians are crying out saying, hey, now's the time to end the crown. Constitutional republic. We the people, right? Do we need divine autocrats running us? Well, Justin Trudeau says, oh yes you do. You low-life degenerate slaves, you savage Indians, you will never be allowed to govern yourselves because it requires him to make important decisions. Folks, climate change, truth and reconciliation, because the savages aren't smart enough to do it themselves. You can't govern yourselves. And you, the low-life degenerate slave working class Canadians, you don't need to worry. Justin Trudeau's going to do all the thinking for you and make all the decisions. This is the most stable governing system in the world, he says. Most stability. Most stability. And the political system is very efficient because whenever any of you disagree with it, He doesn't have to follow it. Don't worry. The political system can move very fast, because if Justin Trudeau doesn't want to use democracy, meaning if he doesn't want to listen to you filthy slaves and dirty savage Indians, he doesn't have to. He never has had to. None of the politicians have to. That's the beautiful part about the constitutional monarchy called Canada. I have an expert, everybody. An expert, the greatest study ever completed on the imperial constitutional monarchy called the United Kingdom, and it's 15 premiers under 15 prime ministers under Charles III. And on top of that list, uno numero one right now is Justin Trudeau underneath Charles. Even the official opposition leader is His Majesty's opposition leader. Folks, Canada doesn't run itself in international relations. We do whatever Charles and the reigning Prime Minister of UK tells us to. Charles says climate change. Charles says fuck the Indians. He also says fuck. Are you ready? I have to do a 3, 2, 1, and I have to warn everybody I'm going to say the N-word. If you don't want to hear that, please log off. But Charles says niggers in Africa, filthy yellow race in Asia, Southeast Asia. That's what he says, and that's what he believes, and all his corrupt prime ministers follow it. That's Justin Trudeau, folks. If you think not, look at the royal scepter. South Africa, you talk about blood diamonds, demands the royal diamond, the world's largest diamond, on her scepter. She's dead now. Return the diamond back to South Africa. It was taken illegally under the imperial monarchy. They don't want to hand it over. Just like they want to ignore academic studies by the greatest minds in the world, which after this video, to show you just how narcissistic Trudeau is and his ruling power under federal crown as a prime minister of the royal family, basically taking away any concept of the UN from Canada. United Nations. You know, everybody says the United Nations is corrupt. No, folks. Canada and all of the Commonwealth realms, especially the 15 with sworn prime ministers to the royal family directly underneath Charles, are corrupt in the UN. They have no brain for themselves. Whatever Charles and the royal family says, Trudeau or whomever you elect prime minister does. Swears and binds in treaty. Just like COVID restrictions only come down when Trudeau officially announces them, which is going to come later today too. Now, why does an autocratic prime minister dictate that? Because he is the crown of Canada. He is basically king of Canada underneath King Charles, as are the 10 provincial premiers and the 3 territorial premiers are small crowns, provincial and territorial crowns under that. That's how it works. They keep their crown as long as they give Charles his. Charles, as Queen Elizabeth II before him, got to govern Canada on international relations, bound and sworn since 2012, when we re-ratified the Commonwealth Charter 2012. Stephen Harper did that. Why? So he could keep his crown. Because in the United Nations, in the permanent 5 members, the United Nations Security Council, USA, Russia, China, France, UK, and the whole world, it's been made very clear since the big war, World War II, that it's illegal to run those governing systems. Illegal. So in order for Canada to run that way, they had to have their sponsorship by the UNSC P5 member, United Kingdom. How did they get that? By granting Queen Elizabeth II and Charles the crown in 2012 over Canada, re-giving it to them as promised to be done away with way back in 1945, called the UN Charter of 1945, the pre-promise of the Atlantic Charter 1941. Now, we're going to get to psychopath Joe Biden because he's a doozy yesterday. A sick, nutty nutcase, everybody. Huge, huge what he did yesterday. Sick, gross, racist, and perverse. Crown-loving, crown-sworn. He's the biggest traitor president to ever sit as president of the United States. I've never seen a worse president in my life. And I'm pretty sure it's treasonous, but I want to finish off on this on Trudeau because it's big. So, Nutty Trudeau continues on with this farce. Why? Because he gets to keep his crown as designed and written in Canada's constitutional monarchy. Not you, the people, and definitely not the first people of Canada. That power and treaty promises made by the UK Crown has been bestowed upon whomever we elect Prime Minister. And then they divide that power out regionally to 13 small monarchs in a division of powers in a federalism. Purely and 100% autocratic. There are no codified rules of governance, none whatsoever, how to govern, or any accountability, none whatsoever, for any of them. Now, there's a tiny bit for the federal crown, so to speak, but that check and balance that was supposed to be the royal family's check and balance over Canada well administered itself so that you, the people, and you, the savage, you, the people who are slaves, and you, the people who are savage, the first peoples, would have somebody to go bitch to, is no longer the UK royal family's privy. It's now domestic, meaning you're ratting out yourself to that crown monarch you're bitching about, meaning the federal or provincial government. They hold that check and balance. As limited as that was before, it's non-existent now. It's basically a rat tool. So the government knows which subjects or slaves or savages are complaining, bitching about them. That's how it works. So there is no real democracy in Canada. Not absolutely since 1952. We lost all real democracy because whenever it doesn't work, the divine constitutional crown power allows your federal and provincial politicians to completely ignore democracy. They don't have to use the parliament. They don't have to use legislatures. Order in council, appointed privy council, sworn and appointed senate for other powers to be, and absolutely none of that exists for any premier. Once you elect a premier, that premier runs autocratically for their 4 years, and literally there's nothing you can do about it unless they resign or they can get enough MLAs to flop, but they want to get the money. It's all corrupt and there's no rules, so why wouldn't they go with the premier? And they do all the time. Very hard to see any MLAs go against a premier because they get thrown out of caucus. They get thrown away, and then the premier, with all the money and control, can turn around and get somebody else to replace them. They usually do. In fact, one phone call, a premier can pick up the phone and take away an MLA's constituency association. Now what do they got? Nothing. That's the sickness, basically, of what is Canada. The narcissist psychopath Justin Trudeau, who says the crown is great. You, the people, don't need a republic. He'll decide truth and reconciliation for the savages like all his predecessors. How well's that been going, First Peoples? How well has that been going for more than 150 years? Let's see, you've been through massive genocide. You live on 0.2% of Canada in what are called reserves, like animals. Does that in any way, shape, or form for Canadians or First Peoples sound in any way, shape, or form normal? It's not normal. It's sick. It's pathetic. You see it. You've seen in history the Jews from Germany, the South Africans under apartheid in South Africa, but yet it reigns supreme right here in Canada, and we all just go normal, just like the Germans and Nazism. Nope, it's normal. It's normal. Oh well, what's happening to the Jews? Oh well, it's normal. What are you bitching about? Go on with my day. Doesn't affect me. All the way to the gas chambers. That's how bad it got. Apartheid. That's how bad it got. And that's what we do here in Canada. We just say, no, no big deal. I'm good. I'm in the city. I don't care about rural, and I definitely don't care about reserves. Think of the word reserve. Reserve Indian. The Indian Act. Think about that. Read it. I challenge people to read it. And Justin Trudeau says, we got a lot of work to do here. We're going to get it done. We've been working on it for 150 years. We're going to get it done. We have the most atrocities routinely committed all the time. We're completely narcissistic. Don't worry. And we're going to deal with climate change too. Don't worry. We can't become a republic or give people the power. We need the monarchy. We need the autocratic control, because I need to rule over you with an iron fist and pure autocracy because of climate change and truth and reconciliation. That's his answer. It's like truth and reconciliation. Justin Trudeau, your filthy, nutty father, raped and murdered children by his orders. He ran residential schools with a number of children deaths, let alone rapes and everything else under his watch. Chrétien too, all through those years, absolutely. And you're going to trust that divine monarch, Trudeau, the psychopath, to get things done like his father before him? Don't think so. So now, folks, we're going to get on to Joe Biden, who on the 77th speech at the United Nations General Assembly goes on to talk about Africa, the continent, and he states, and he's a psychopath, he states that he will break apart African countries and give them individual permanent seats on the United Nations Security Council. Permanent seats. Individual countries. Now, hear me out. I'm a master of the United Nations Security Council. I have the best academic minds in the entire world. Many crying out about this. I got to chime in. Like I said, it was a busy day yesterday. The psychopath of Joe Biden. He is a psychopath. A crown-loving psychopath, which is scary. You guys got to hear this out. He goes on in that same sentence, part of that paragraph of his speech, to say we want to take South America, individual countries, and give them permanent seats. And then he talks about the Caribbean, many island countries, and we're going to pick Caribbean countries to have permanent United Nations seats. Now, you ready for this, guys? I'm an expert on the United Nations Security Council. I'm an expert on the UN. I'm there. I've proved it in world academia. I'm going to tell you something. Africa, the African Union, Pan-Africa, is over 50 nations. Wants to be a couple more, okay? It's over 50 countries on the continent called Africa. Like the United States of America or the Russian Federation, they would like to have, at least for the continent of Africa, a permanent seat on the United Nations Security Council. At least to see the continent of the United Nations of Africa, Pan-Africa, call it what you will, they've been calling for a seat for a very long time. They're organized. Another continent, as we all know, there's 7, there is South America with no representation at all, and all of those countries united would like a permanent seat. 2 continents who would like a seat. Many nations. Folks, psychopathic, nutcase, crown-loving, completely treasonous President Joe Biden wants to take the jewels of the United Kingdom, monarchies, whether they got independence or they've kept the crown power and are signed on to the Commonwealth Charter, he wants those specific nations, slave nations, to have permanent seats so that UK's royal family can command them. In climate change, if you read the Commonwealth Charter, and on slave and savage creation. He's a psychopath, Trudeau loving, Charles III loving nut job. I'm going to tell you again, Africa Union of more than 50 countries, not hand-picked colonial crown jewels from the United Kingdom that have no international voice but have to give their voice to UK. That's what Joe Biden wants. Joe Biden wants the slave states of South America with heavy UK ties to the British monarchy to have permanent seats, not a united South America. Same with the Caribbean island countries. Those still attached to the United Kingdom, he wants to have permanent seats. This president is a traitor to all Americans. He's a traitor in the largest sense of traitor there could ever be in the United States of America is President of the United States of America. He wishes to have the United State of America. He wants to be King of America. The man is a sick, perverted nut job, in love with the royal family, in love with the entire concept, the autocracy. It's completely treasonous. The man needs to be impeached. He needs to be removed from the international stage. I hope Americans wake up. I hope that midterms come and go and Republicans win majority Senate and Congress. I sure hope they do. And I hope that they flip things around and they go right after him and impeach his sorry, useless ass. This isn't an incompetent idiot. And those Republicans that keep saying that, I start to wonder about them. The same kind of Republicans that championed black and everything crown from Canada. Why would you do that? I'm having a lot of trouble on Twitter with some Republicans, the fringe minority Republicans, who seem to worship Trump like a god. And if you're a real patriot, you don't do that. You look at everybody as they are. You stay with truth. Trump was unconstitutional. He did it once. Joe Biden 14 times. And internationally, absolutely treasonous against the American people. He has the power of international treaty. You can't change that. But I'm telling you all, read his UNGA speech yesterday, 77th. Putrid, treasonous, the worst psychopath America's ever put in office. He trumps the Trump by a large, massive amount of miles. And I know a lot are waking up. I hope it's enough to throw him out. And I hope we see some truly honest candidates coming forward. There is no easy answer for Canada. Paul Revere is not the answer. I know a majority of Canadians are going that way. But I'm going to tell you something in real numbers. The left has never been as strong as it has been today. Conservatives have never been as low as they are as low today. And everybody's going, but they're in the lead, Dave. They're in the lead. They're down to 30 points out of 100. 30 points, almost 31 points. Think about that. Andrew Scheer, that everybody threw out, was at 33 points. Paul Revere sitting at 30, almost 31 points, but it's 30.7, 30 percentage points out of 100. Folks, 70-30. It's almost 70-30. Socialist or socialist extreme versus conservative. Conservatives have dropped 4.9 percentage points out of the 100 in electorate. Guess what? Liberals fell even more. Do you know who went up the most? NDP. The Liberals bled more than the Conservatives. Conservatives bled. But NDP grew the largest. The largest. PPC grew, but they didn't grow as fast, as much as the Conservatives bled. They didn't grow as much as that bleed. Much less than that. That means for every 2 Conservatives who went to Maxime Bernier, 1 went NDP. Think about that. It's almost 70-30 this country, not 65-35. It's getting scarier. People are getting dumbed down. They're falling in love with the crown. It's wrong. We need to awaken people. We have to bring back woke. The real woke, not the UK propaganda woke that has taken the left by storm. We have to get back to the original woke, the American patriot of independence woke, who is a smart citizen, a citizen who stood on their own 2 feet, who can see things for they are and made change happen from within over the governing powers that be, the would-be autocrats. The power of the people, the power that's inside you. I'm not talking revolution here, not yet. But people need to wake up because, like the patriots of independence, we've gone the other way where now we're subservient subjects. Many are becoming woke to this fact, woke to this oppression, woke to the crown and the establishment. But it's not enough. It's not enough. And we're going to get into that, and I'm going to do a specific video in the coming days. I want to do a good job of it. I don't like being so tired. Literally, everybody, I do have to go. It's time to go to work, but I'm doing 4 a.m. to 8 p.m. every day before I even am going to bed. It's a huge drain. I mean, I got to work for a living. That's what I do. I've always done, and I work with my hands. I'm not the socialist that so many seem to think are great and wonderful divine leaders. Things you got to get away from. That's my video. Get it shared out. There's a lot of detail here, a lot for people to look at. I had so much tremendous reading all day yesterday. I haven't even gone through most of the news of yesterday yet, and I can't, I won't. It's going to have to be saved for later days, and I try to do as much as I can, typing and making memes for everybody, but it's the best I can do. But that's my day. I gotta go. I know. Share, get it out there. Tremendous video and volume of information here. Stuff people need to know. Bye now.